Hello and welcome. Here, ordinary moments unfold slowly and without distraction. There's nothing you need to do and nowhere you need to be. You can simply listen and let the moment settle around you. This is the Gentle Hour. Sunday Morning Toast. You are awake before you need to be. The room is dim. A pale wash of early light sits behind the curtains. You lie still for a moment. You listen. From outside, a faint sound begins. A single bird calls from somewhere beyond the garden. Another bird answers from farther away. The notes are clear but unhurried. You pause and listen. The sounds rise and fall without pattern, some close, some distant. Somewhere outside, a wood pigeon. Its sound is low and even. It calls once, then again, then stops. Your body is warm. The duvet rests evenly across you. Your breathing is slow and steady. You stretch one arm outward beneath the covers. Your shoulder rolls gently as the fabric shifts. Your fingers spread, then relax again. Your legs extend slowly. Your heels press into the mattress as you reach up and stretch your left arm, then your right. You release the stretch and allow your body to settle. You wiggle your toes, then turn onto your side. The air beyond the duvet feels cooler against your face. You sit up. The mattress adjusts beneath your weight. The room remains quiet. Your feet find the floor. The carpet feels soft beneath your bare feet. Your dressing gown hangs on the back of the door. You lift it and slide your arms into the sleeves. The fabric settles across your shoulders. You draw it closed and tie the belt loosely. Your slippers sit beside the bed. You slide one foot forward. The fabric gives slightly as your toes enter. Your heel settles into place. You repeat with the other foot. The lining feels soft and faintly warm. You stand and shift your weight once. The soles press evenly against the floor. The softness beneath your feet dulls the coolness of the room. You step into the hallway. The house is still. You move towards the stairs. Each carpeted step is silent beneath your feet. Your hand rests lightly on the banister as you descend. There is a familiar creak from the third step as you pass over it. At the bottom, the kitchen door stands slightly ajar. A thin line of morning light falls across the floor. You step inside. The room holds the quiet chill of the night. The blinds and curtains are closed. You walk over to the blinds, reach for the cord, and lift slowly. The slats rise one by one, steadily allowing light to pass. You walk over to the curtains. You draw them aside in one smooth motion. Grey light enters. You see a thin band of pale gold appearing at the horizon. You pause and look out. The garden is still. The grass holds a faint sheen from the night air. You stand there for a moment longer. The day has begun quietly. You turn back into the room. A loaf of fresh sourdough rests on the counter, wrapped in parchment paper. You unfold it and lift the loaf free. The crust feels firm beneath your hand. You tap it once. The sound is hollow and drum-like. You raise the loaf to your ear and squeeze it gently. A symphony of crackles sound from the crust. You place the loaf onto a heavy wooden chopping board. You pick up the bread knife. The handle sits comfortably in your palm. You steady the loaf with one hand and you begin the cut. The knife moves in a slow, steady motion. Crust resists, then yields. Small flakes scatter across the board. You continue without rushing. The blade passes through the center. The interior opens softly beneath the cut. You lift the first slice. The crumb is pale and uneven, dotted with open pockets of air. You bring it closer and breathe in. The smell is mild and faintly sweet. You cut a second slice. The motion of the knife remains steady. Crumbs gather near your hand. You carry both slices to the toaster. They slide into place. You press the lever down. The mechanism clicks softly. The toaster begins its quiet work. You rest your hands lightly on the cool counter. For a moment, nothing changes. You walk towards the back door. Your slippered feet make a light patting sound on the cool tiles. Light from the window grows a little stronger with each step. You stop beside the glass and look out. The garden is damp from the night. The soil in the beds is dark and heavy. Small beads of moisture cling to the leaves of the plants nearest the door. A robin sits on the fence post. Its body is small and round against the morning air. It tilts its head once, then again. A quick, bright call breaks the stillness. It pauses, then sings again. The sound is clear and sharp, carrying easily across the garden. From somewhere beyond the hedge comes the low, steady call of a wood pigeon. It repeats without hurry. A soft, hollow rhythm that fills the space behind the robin's song. The two sounds overlap without clashing. The robin, quick and high. The pigeon, slow and even. You rest one hand lightly against the doorframe and continue to watch. The strip of sunlight reaches the top of the fence. It spreads gradually across the wood, picking out the grain and small marks on the surface. Near the back corner of the garden, a small cluster of leaves stirs. A second bird moves there briefly before disappearing again. The robin hops once along the fence. It pauses, then lets out another short burst of song. The pigeon continues its call in the distance, steady and unchanged. You stand quietly, watching the slow movement of the morning. A faint breeze passes through the garden. It shifts the stems of the taller plants. A few drops of water fall from the edges of leaves and darken the soil below. The sky above the rooftops lightens gradually. The colour changes from dull grey to a softer blue. The robin lifts from the fence and crosses the garden in a quick, low flight. It lands near the base of a plant and begins to search the ground. The pigeon's call continues, slow and familiar. You remain at the door a moment longer, letting the sounds and movement settle around you before turning back into the kitchen. Behind you, the toaster continues its quiet work. You walk towards it. The morning light strengthens slightly at the window. You hear the faintest shift from the toaster as the heat builds. You remain still. The house stays quiet around you. No footsteps above, no movement in the hallway. The toaster runs on. The air fills with a warm, savoury smell. You stay where you are. At last, a soft click sounds. The toast rises. You remove a large, heavy plate from the bottom cupboard and place it next to the toaster. You lift each slice carefully. Heat rises from the surface. The crust is deeper in colour now. You place them down on the plate. You open a cupboard and retrieve the butter dish. The solid glass construction makes it heavy for its size. You gently place it down on the worktop. Also from the cupboard, you pick up a glass jar with a silver lid and place that on the worktop next to the butter dish. This jar is full of sweet, sticky strawberry jam. You pick up a knife and a spoon from the drawer. The metal is cool and refreshing in your hand. You place them down next to the plate. You lift the lid from the butter dish and place it down. You take the knife and press lightly into the surface. The butter yields slowly, curling up as you swipe. You spread it across the toast. It softens as it meets the warmth. It glides into the surface in a thin layer. The smell of melted butter rises in the air. You open the jar of jam. The jar is new, so the lid releases with a small pop as the seal is broken. You raise the jar to your nose and take a deep inhale of the sweet fruit. You take a modest spoonful and spread it gently over the buttered toast. The vibrant red is a stark contrast against the pale yellow of the butter. You gently drop the spoon and knife into the sink. You carry the wooden board over to the sink and swipe the crumbs into it with the outer edge of your hand. They feel rough against your skin. You place the board down next to the sink. It lands with a dull thud. You move to the coffee machine. The small pod machine sits near the wall. You lift the handle. The chamber opens with a soft mechanical sound as you hear the previous capsule dropping into the internal catcher. You reach for your favourite coffee mug. It sits on a hook beneath the cabinet. The mug is a solid two-tone earthenware style, with a shiny, deep orange glaze on the top half, descending into a rough textured beige at the bottom. You place the mug beneath the machine spout. You reach towards the back of the worktop and pull out a large, beige ceramic pot with a wooden lid. The lid resists as you prise it off. Inside are a variety of metal coffee capsules. You pick out a shiny, deep red one and replace the lid. The pot scrapes slightly as you push it to the back of the worktop. The capsule feels cool and smooth in your fingers. You place it into the holder and lower the handle again. It engages with a firm click. You press the middle espresso button and wait. The machine hums to life. A low vibration passes through the counter. For a moment, only the sound of heating water fills the room. Then a thin stream begins. Coffee dispenses slowly into the cup. Steam rises in faint curls. The smell deepens quickly, warm and intense. You watch the level rise. The stream slows, then stops. The machine goes silent in an instant. You lift the cup off the machine and hold it briefly in both hands. The warmth spreads into your fingers. You raise the mug towards your nose. It smells aromatic and earthy. You place the mug down on the worktop and retrieve the sugar pot from the cupboard. You fetch a teaspoon from the drawer. You pry off the wooden lid and scoop out one heaped spoon, carefully lowering it into the mug. You stir gently to dissolve it fully. You walk over to the tall fridge and open the door. A carton of milk rests in the door shelf. You lift it out. The surface feels cold and slightly damp in your hand. You bring the carton over to the mug and remove the cap with a small twist. You tilt it slowly. A thin stream of milk drops into the coffee. The dark surface lightens where it lands. Pale swirls spread outward and settle. You stop and straighten the carton. You place the cap back on and return the milk to the door. The fridge closes with a soft seal. You return to the mug, giving it a final stir. You lift the spoon and let the last drops fall back into the mug, tapping the spoon on the rim of the mug 3 times. You walk over to the sink, gently dropping the spoon into it. The smell of toast and coffee now fills the kitchen. You move over to the plate of toast and carry it, along with the coffee, to the table by the window. They land gently on the solid wood. The chair leg scrapes slightly on the floor as you sit down. Outside, the sun has begun to lift above the rooftops. Light reaches slowly across the table. You pick up the toast. It is warm in your hands. You take a bite. The crust crunches sharply. The center is soft where the butter has melted into it. The sweetness of the jam sits easily against the salty butter. You chew slowly. You swallow. You lift the cup and take a small sip of coffee. It is bittersweet and hot. You set it down again. You remain seated. The light continues to grow. Shadows shift slightly along the floor. You take another bite. Then another sip. You gaze out the window. The garden has begun to change colour as the sun rises. The fence looks warmer where the light touches it. The shaded side remains cool and dull. A robin moves along the edge of the lawn, stopping every few steps. It tilts its head, then pecks at the ground. Its movements are quick but measured. From beyond the hedge, the wood pigeon continues its slow, repeating call. The sound carries evenly through the morning air. The pale grey of early morning gives way to a clearer tone. Clouds thin and move apart, leaving wider spaces of blue between them. A second bird crosses the garden in a low flight and disappears behind the shed. The robin lifts to the fence, balances there for a moment, then hops along the top rail. You take another bite of toast. The sound of the crust breaking is loud in the quiet kitchen. The sun climbs a little higher. Its light now reaches the edge of the table, touching the surface beside your plate. The warmth is subtle but noticeable. You remain seated at the table. The plate is nearly empty now. The mug rests between your hands. Outside, the garden continues its quiet movement. The light has strengthened, but the morning still feels gentle. You take another sip of coffee. It is still fairly hot, but easier to drink now. You set the mug back down and let your hands rest beside it. The chair supports you evenly. Your feet stay flat on the floor. Your shoulders settle into a natural position. You do not need to move. The sounds outside continue without urgency. The air outside is filled with gentle birdsong. The house remains still. Only the slow arrival of the day. You sit with the calm weight of the morning around you. Your breathing is steady. There is nothing more to do here. You remain seated. You remain still. The mug rests on the table. The room is quiet. The morning continues to unfold outside the window. You stay where you are, in this quiet moment, while the day begins slowly beyond the glass. If this time felt grounding and you'd like more moments like it, you're welcome to follow along so it's here whenever you need it. And if this episode felt especially helpful, you can save it to return to the ritual whenever you like. Thank you for being here.